Welcome, Brenda. It's so good to see you.
Glad to be here, Chala, and to visit with everyone.
Yes, thank you so much for coming. Brenda and I worked together. We're still working together.
Yes.
I think it's our second time around working together. And I'm so proud of all of the stuff that they've done. I'm in love with their team. I'm in love with Brenda. And, it's not just any client for me. I think it's someone who really gets it and really puts it into action. And I'm dying for her to hear for her to share her story. So, let me know, Brenda. Let us know what you do and
Right.
who you help.
Right, exactly. So, Jones Public Relations, we're a nearly 20-year-old company in Oklahoma, and we have a staff of 17 people. And I did almost all the new business development, but our team is growing. And, as the company grew, I need to spend more time in managing and the agency. And I could not be spending so much time in new business just alone. And I have two vice presidents who really had not done any new business development, and I needed to get them trained up. And I discovered Chala, and
Woo!
that's when we began our relationship with Chala. So, and because my two vice presidents really had not done any business development, and they had certain mindsets about selling, and that needed to be overcome. And so we spent a whole day session with Chala, and a lot of that was revealed, and we were able to overcome that. And it was wonderful that Chala developed a method for us to start doing new business development that really incorporated all of our strengths, so that the sum was greater than the individual efforts.
Yes, I remember the VIP day. I know most
Yes.
people are like, they're bleeding from the ear as they straggle out. But you guys are troopers. You guys went back home and implemented your brains out.
Yes,
But you
yes, we
already
did.
but you guys were already superstars when you got there. You had already done the research. Talk to me about the initial
Yes.
research that you did.
So in Oklahoma, the second largest industry is the aerospace industry. And we really wanted to tap into that. And we had been trying actually for a couple of years before we met you, Chala.
Mm.
And all we were getting was like we were talking to the Boeing and Northrop Grumman, and all we were getting is, well, we have all the marketing and communications is handled out of our corporate headquarters in Seattle or Chicago. So we were getting nowhere. So when we worked with Chala and we told her that we really wanted to target the aerospace industry, and that we felt like that was a sweet spot for us. Um, the method she developed for us to really start chasing that industry was extremely helpful and very, very unique.
So talk about the pain point that you guys discovered.
Well, what we discovered, so we did the research. So we talked to about 10, and we talked to Boeing and all these big aerospace companies, American Airlines. They have a huge operation, one of the largest in Oklahoma. And what we found out, what we learned is through our research, that Chala helped us, provide the questions and exactly what to ask. So we really got the answers that we needed. Was that they were really having trouble hiring millennials and then keeping millennials, because aerospace is the second largest industry here. Basically, all the companies are poaching each other's employees, and they know it, and all the aerospace companies here will absolutely admit it. Yes, we're constantly poaching. So people would come and work at American Airlines, and then 6 months later, Boeing would steal them for more money. And so that's what we discovered was the real pain point of not only recruiting but also retaining them. In recruiting, they were finding that they were spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on recruiting people to their companies, because they would have to have 3 or 4 meetings, fly them in, fly their spouse in. So they were spending a lot of money on the recruitment effort, and they wanted to decrease that by retaining millennials.
Yes. So I just want to point out two things that you said here. One is you guys remember back to when she talked about the VIP day. She talked about how we overcame some mindset issues around selling for the
Yes.
team. And This VIP day is also available to you guys. I had set a deadline of 24 hours for as a bonus if you pay in full. And if you pay in full, I have 2 slots left of a Zoom version of that VIP day. And so please feel free to, join in and join up. We've still got 2 of those. So the value that you get out of that is an accelerator. And whatever the issue is, whether it's mindset or it's strategy, we handle all of it within that strategy day.
And it really is an accelerator, because I would have never discovered those negative mindsets that my 2 VPs had about selling if we had not had that full day with you.
And how do you think it impacted things afterwards?
Well, it totally changed their mindset about selling. They understood that selling is actually a good thing, because it made them understand that we are bringing we're bringing a value to a potential client by solving a problem. And they never saw selling as being a solution value to prospective clients.
Yeah.
And that it just opened a whole new world for them.
And how much competition do you have as a PR agency?
Oh, Oklahoma has too many PR agencies.
Right.
And when I talk to colleagues in other cities like Boston or New York, or I'll say Boston, Washington, D.C., Seattle, and I'll mention how many PR agencies are in Oklahoma, they're just stunned, because we're only a state of 4 million people. And we have probably 25 to 30 really active, good-sized PR agencies in Oklahoma.
So
and we're all independents. We don't have any national PR agencies here. So we're all independent. So we have too many. So when I started my company only about 19 years ago, there were, say, 6 or 7 PR agencies in the whole state. And now there's easily 25.
Wow. And the other thing that I wanted to, so the fierce competition, you guys, the ability to stand out using a solution-based messaging based on a very specific target is what they turned it around to through our work. The other part that I wanted to mention is they were able to do the research, find the real pain point, and then change their marketing and their messaging around that. So tell me what you did with that information, like what we did with that niche.
Well, so what we did with that niche is we started talking to, there was a couple of aerospace entities here. They're not associations, but they're government agencies, I'll call them. So we met with them, and what we discovered is that there is no association in the state of Oklahoma for aerospace that brings them together. And so we worked with them. We brought them on they agreed to be partners with us. And we told them about a roundtable and also about a forum we wanted to start initiating. And so they signed on as a sponsor with us to start the first ever aerospace annual forum in the state of Oklahoma. And what this does, this brings 200 to 300 aerospace companies together once a year. So we did a pilot. The first year we started working with you, Chala, and it was so successful that we did it a second year. And now everyone says they want to do a third year. And then that provided us really with a platform. So we had a captive audience of 200 to 300 aerospace executives coming together. And then to get more niche and specific to us. So what we had before the forum began, they could come early, and we had a roundtable that by invitation only. And that's where we would talk about how to address the pain point of recruiting and retaining millennials. And we would have between 5 to 8 executives there. And it was by invitation only. And that was a very comfortable, natural way for myself and my VP, vice presidents to, I'll call it sell, but we weren't selling. We're offering them a solution to their problem.
That's right. The one thing that I want to point out about Brenda that makes her a success is that they were already so busy around the time that we were doing this work, like they were, how much you had, like you had phenomenal growth that year, right? You
Oh,
were
yes. Yeah. $5 million.
right,
Yes. Yeah.
exactly.
We've grown from about 4 to 5. Yes.
Hi, Reka. We're going to take you, if you can turn off your camera until we take you. Reka's our other guest that's going to follow Brenda. So Brenda was already working like crazy. They had more business coming in than they knew what to do with. Their team
Right.
was scrambling. And then what happened is, you know, they hired me. They started doing all the work in addition to the work that they were already doing on their existing business. So there is never any excuse to tell me that you don't have the bandwidth. You stretch to the bandwidth
Right.
if you really want the results. And then I challenged them and they did it. And this is the same with Reka, who's going to be on here. This is what makes them a huge success. I challenged them to do an executive roundtable. And in my format, like maybe they've done them in the past, but in my format, that's the format that sets you up to actually seed your services for them to actually be interested in talking to you afterwards about closing a sale. So they did it, even though they were like last minute, stretched, dying, they did it. And they did it again, and they did it again, and they did it again, and they've had the results. So what was the one-liner that we thought up for you? You 10x'd your what?
Oh, yes. We definitely 10x'd our, I'll say penetration into the aerospace industry. So if you talk to anybody in aerospace in the whole state of Oklahoma, they will tell you Jones PR is the aerospace agency. And they talk, the leaders in the aerospace industry talk about Jones PR all the time. We've won clients in aerospace now that we never could have gotten our foot in the door, and we had tried before. And now we're taking our show on the road. The largest aerospace conference is in Vegas, and we went there last fall and did our executive roundtable there and had good success there. So now we're starting to reach beyond Oklahoma. So there's lots of business in Oklahoma, but there's lots more outside of Oklahoma in the aerospace industry. So now by doing this executive roundtable, we're able to reach 10 times more aerospace companies and outside of Oklahoma than we ever could have before.
Yes. And so the other part is the beauty of what they've learned is that even if the aerospace industry is quiet right now, the whole niching exercise we can do again to refocus on another industry. And in fact, Brenda has hired me again, even though they already found their niche, they already did their messaging, they have their plan. What made you hire me again?
Because you were so helpful to us. Well, we really needed maintenance, and we didn't want to lose that knowledge because I think it's so easy to slip back in your old ways. And I really need to keep not only myself, but my vice presidents, just keep this at the top of mind, at the forefront, and they're constantly thinking, because we do marketing, but Chala has a way of tweaking everything you know about marketing to fit the pain points and the needs and what they really want to hear. Oftentimes we talk about what we think they want to know about marketing, but Chala really has trained us to keep the focus of our marketing message on the prospect and what they want to hear and what they need. So we don't want to slip into our old habit of talking about ourselves. And we want to make sure that we stay top of mind, keep focus on that we're talking about what the prospect wants to hear and what they need. And it's just a tweak, but we need Chala to continue to keep us trained and focused on that.
And you guys are so coachable. You are so open. You are so, I don't know everything. So that's your approach to everything. And I love that. Last question. What is any advice that you can give to people who are undecided about working with me?
Well, for anyone who's undecided, Chala is worth every penny. and when you look at it from that perspective, it'll be the best investment you ever make.